The following is brought to you by the Starfleet Podcast Network, SPN, The Spin.
I think what would have been really cool, Frank, is you start off the scene in the jacket, the hat, and then we cut away to the away mission with the other people, and then we get back to you, and you lose the jacket, and it's just you in the shirt, and then we go back to the away mission, and come back to you, you've lost the hat, go back to the away mission, and we come back to you, and then you just lose the shirt altogether, and it's just you know, no shirt on, just real Captain Kirk in it, and then by the time we get to the final scene, it's just you and your tidy whities on that river holding up the TNG badge. That's braver than anything Avalon's done, don't you think?
No, I don't think so. You forgot the pole.
Red alert.
Hi, it's Big J, and in just a moment, I will be presenting you with Crossroads Project Gemini, Episode 3, titled Rebirth. Afterwards, please join our Critical-not-Cynical review for our discussions and reaction to the film. Without further ado, here is Rebirth.
Enter.
Fleet?
Yes.
Not much to look at, is it?
Broken dreams seldom are, Miss Tanner. I do want to thank you, though, for joining us on this mission.
I wouldn't have had it any other way.
But you had a choice. But you chose this command in your loyalty to it. You didn't choose Menard.
Well, if I had, his doppelganger would have had a bigger foothold. This is all out of my wheelhouse.
Regardless, I do want to say thank you. And I know that sounds small.
Well, it's too bad his doppelganger proved you right, and all this damage occurred.
That's what I've been trying to figure out. Was that really Menard's evil doppelganger? Or is that what he really is inside?
Commander, do you need me to leave?
Not at all, Lieutenant. I just came in for a little bit of peace and quiet. I think we're fine to work on our assignments as long as there's no gum chewing.
No, I'm sorry, sir. I don't understand.
As long as we're respectful towards each other, Lieutenant, I think we'll be fine.
Any idea where this assignment we're headed to is?
You know, there's been some strange pinging off of Arnolia Prime. Haven't seen that sort of thing since Carson.
Yeah, we never did figure that out.
You know, but maybe this is our time to figure that out and actually maybe fix what happened.
Sometimes I feel like we're all part of a puzzle that's too big for us to understand.
But isn't that part of the fun of it? Figuring out where you fit in that puzzle?
I don't know that I'd call that fun. Overwhelming, maybe.
Come on now, that's not the Starfleet attitude, is it, Lieutenant?
Show me what else is out there. With how things are, it's either kind of do this or just fade away.
There's plenty to do. What are you talking about? There's a whole universe out there.
What is one vital thing not associated with the Federation from the last 100 years? My point exactly. I'm good at what I do, even if it's not what I want to do.
Senior staff, report to the bridge. Okay, everyone, we've arrived and we have landing party duty. Make note that this planet is on a type of ship. So the first sign of anything out of the ordinary, beam back. And you guys stand by to get out of here. Relieve crew to the bridge. Tanner, I'm leaving you in charge.
Me, sir?
Look, no matter what, you're the most skilled at this ship specs right now, and I think we need that at this present time.
Well, you can count on me, sir.
Sometimes you just have to go with your gut feeling.
That means a lot to me, sir.
Commander Yeager, me.
Commodore, one moment.
Yes.
That project, it's ready. I have it processing now.
We get it done.
Yes, sir.
Engineering's log supplement. Commodore Grissom has taken a small landing party to the surface of Arnolia Prime. Strong gravity waves affecting space and time have caught not only the Harrisons' attention, but the attention of the USS Excalibur. If we're not careful, this situation could end the ship's mission before it even begins.
Who the hell do you think you are?
And this is who Grissom leaves in command of his ship as well. You can call me Captain Mitchell. Let's just say that I'm a special consultant on board the Excalibur. Beyond that is above your security clearance.
Do you not know what's out here? This is clearly dangerous. Don't you think it's dangerous? Hello? I'm sitting in this chair instead of being in the engine room.
Clearly an oversight on Grissom's part. Listen, we're aware of the situation. That's why I'm here.
I'm sorry. Until we figure out what this actually is, we're traveling into the unknown.
The gravity waves affecting space-time, they're live quakes. Well, more like echoes of the quake that haven't happened yet.
That's somewhat accurate.
This is the first chance we've had to locate any signs of where the disturbances could be coming from.
I'm sorry, Captain. Project Gemini takes precedence over your mission.
Well then, I'm going to give you some free advice. It's the sign of a good officer who contacts the superior and gets all the information they can regarding a situation before they approach.
I can assure you, Grissom has his hands full at this moment.
I wasn't talking about your superiors. Excalibur out.
Grissom here.
Commodore, Excalibur is on our way here.
Oh, really?
Commodore, without knowing what is causing the gravity shifts, that would not be advisable.
Commander, reach out to the Excalibur and give her all the information that she needs.
That may not be easy.
And why is that?
Well, based on your orders, I tried pulling protocol and it kind of blew up in my face.
That's not the Starfleet way, Commander. Remember, one happy fleet.
I'll try reaching out, Captain.
We'll spread out and take a look around to see if we can figure out what's causing these gravity waves. You fix up your mess with the Excalibur.
And if I can't?
Then pray that we figure out what's causing these gravity waves before it causes a major crisis. Grissom out. Jaeger, Bedford, I want you to move off to the 2 o'clock position, see if there's any flux in process and figure out what's going on over there, whether it's hard or soft. Tamaro, Gifford, I want you to move off to the 10 o'clock position, see if the same thing is going over there so we can triangulate. I'll take the 6 o'clock position.
Acknowledged.
Okay, we meet back here in an hour, or if you run out of communications range. Is that understood?
Aye, sir.
Move out.
Aye, sir. Man, look at this place. It's absolutely breathtaking.
I think you might want to reel back your enthusiasm some.
Right. You do have more experience than I do out here. Most of my career has been flying to desk.
Which makes your security clearance creditable.
Man, aren't you just a bucket of sunshine?
Look, I didn't ask for this assignment, and I'm sure you're a great guy, but I didn't ask for you, and I didn't ask for this detail, so let's just do a good job.
Have I done something to upset you?
Oh Lord, you must be the most timid security officer in the fleet.
What, you didn't want the assignment to the Harrison?
If you must pry, no. No, I didn't. Admiral Reynolds assigned me, and sometimes you don't get a say. I'm needed here. And I could tell Grissom didn't want me here. I hate fake platitudes, but I know I'm needed.
Wow, man, I haven't felt needed in a while. Yeah, I was on cleanup crew for the Carson disaster.
Oh my God, I heard about that.
Yeah.
I heard it made Colonial Green look like a picnic.
Yeah, that was my first assignment. You know, I almost left Starfleet over it.
And they assigned you to that?
Well, you know, I volunteered. I wanted to do my part, you know, serve, get out there. Just saw a lot of tragedy.
And so you took an administrative post?
Well, and the Commodore and I spoke often. He kept an eye on me.
So if not for Grissom, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, you know, he helped me get my priorities straight, get my head together. I've just seen so much turmoil and tragedy in this world. I'm just ready for something positive to come out.
Let's go find that positive. After you, Mr. Yeager.
Yeah, I don't mind if I do.
Hijacking systems, Tanner.
Well, I'm not exactly in my element here.
Start from the beginning. Let's talk.
I have a mission that takes priority over other ships.
And you know the immediate dangers of every situation.
Well, no.
Menard said that you were a good engineer. Didn't he say that you were on a path for command?
I'm not. I came on board because Commodore Grissom needed a temporal and advanced warp theory expert only. I was just put in command. I didn't ask for this, sir.
That can be a huge thing for someone not ready. But you're in that chair, and that's all that answers right now.
Well, what do you suggest?
You're obviously in control of the situation. The Excalibur is out there somewhere. If I know the captain, he'll be dodging you all day. So the Crusader isn't entering the system unless you approve of us entering it. So you're in command of this situation. If you keep other ships out, you risk ruining all your work.
This is true.
In a given situation, a distress call takes priority, correct?
Yeah, everything else is secondary.
Even if that mission is an important one, saving life is a top priority.
I see where you're going. This is no different. If the Excalibur has cause to be here, that's no different than a distress call.
And you'll be saving those lives.
Designating a specific place for them to coordinate so they can do what they need to do and yet stay out of our hair would benefit both of us.
Win-win.
I need to make a comm call, if you'll excuse me.
Absolutely. Let the Crusader know when we can enter the system. No rush.
Acknowledged. 10 are out.
Does the cat have your tongue? Picked a hell of a time to go silent on me.
Not trying to, just trying to show that command confidence.
Is there any reason why you didn't have that presence before?
I'd have handled the situation with the Excalibur better.
Well, I do admit I did not see that coming. But that's part of the learning curve. Didn't you know that Eric respected your engineering skills and your solutions to problems? And also the way you handled command tactics?
No, I had no idea.
He really needs to talk to his officers more and communicate with them. He's been very poor. He's just like his father.
He thought I was command material?
Well, he recommended you for the fast track to commander. But there's still things that you're going to have to learn.
Out here, though, not quite that easy.
Well, I'm going to be putting you more in command as I see fit. I believe in giving chances.
That could be dangerous.
Well, let me put it this way. There are a lot of dangers out there. Hang on. A lot of danger.
I am Big J. I'm here with Frank. We are hoping that V-Man is able to make it here tonight. Unfortunately, Nico's not going to be able to make it either. So I don't know where we should have like a required attendance kind of form or something like that. Don't you think, Frank?
I think so too, because two of my people, besides Donna were supposed to be on, and unfortunately, one forgot about plans that, or actually her husband told her that they had plans that she forgot about, and unfortunately, my other executive producer besides Vance, Jason, he got a really bad migraine after work today. So I can certainly understand that. He said if he was able to, he was going to come on, but if he's not here by now, unfortunately, he won't be here. But certainly can understand that, because I know that he gets very bad migraines at times. So.
Oh, that's no fun at all. Well, but we do have Donna Parker here, who played Dr. Tamerl in the film we just watched or listened to, Crossroads Project Gemini, episode 3, titled Rebirth. And so the first thing that I want to talk with you about, the sets. Now, this is in your garage, is that right? The set that you made?
Yeah, they're in my mother-in-law's garage. Hey, V-Man!
There's V-Man.
Yeah, there we go. So.
Good, just in time.
He is.
What's up, guys?
We just started.
Yeah, pretty much just started. I was asking Frank about the sets he used on his fan film, which was very nice. I know you talked about it, but this is the first chance I've had to really see it. And I like practical sets. I think those are really nice to use. It had to take a lot of work.
Yeah, and we're right in the middle of a redress on it right now. As a matter of fact, before we came down here, Donna was painting this area down here because it got smudged the way I tried spraying it with a can to get it darker, and it just was motley. It wasn't coming up. And then with the TVs up there, what I'm doing is I had to make a frame around them, so we're working on the frames. And none of the electronics are in there right now. Everything's stripped down. But yeah, this is in my mother-in-law's garage in Gastonia, North Carolina. So she had nothing better to do. She had 40 years worth of crap stuff in it. That Donna was the one who cleaned the actual garage while I was planning.
You were doing the planning. It was either going to be a den or a studio, man cave, and you made it a set on the bridge of a starship. That is awesome. Donna.
Now, your mother-in-law has become unofficially the Lucille Ball of the fan film world because of how the whole set thing is kind of gone down, and letting her use letting you guys use the garage for the sets. Am I right, Frank?
Oh yeah, pretty much. I think we did actually say that at one point, that she was the Lucille Ball of fan films, and I don't know if you made it all the way to the end, Jefferson. I know that you were there. If you'll see, in all of our films, we have a picture of her as a still at the end with a big thanks.
Yeah, Mom said she wants you to take a better picture of her, by the way.
Was it after the credits? Because I did make it through the end, but I didn't watch the end credits. I watched the end credits scene, but not the actual credit.
Yeah. After our banner, the No Budget Production, FilkFerret Production banner that we have on all our films, it just ends with her just sitting there.
Okay.
And saying, thank you.
I have to go back and look at that.
Yeah.
The big question that I've got, Donna, how does Frank rope you into these fan films?
We were down in Kingsland, Georgia, and the Farragut invited me to go to, since I made his uniforms and the Romulan uniforms for everybody but Cheryl Lynn. But we, it's just something we do. It was just something that we started talking about, and then Randy started talking about, tell me about Tamerl, because Tamerl was, when I do cosplay as a Vulcan, that I was Tamerl and everything. So we just worked it all into there. So
Okay, so you started by doing cosplay of the character.
Cosplay and everything like that, yeah. Oh, I've been cosplaying for multi years. Multi years. So
Well, that's got to be a lot of fun. So it seems natural to go from cosplaying to being in a fan film.
yeah.
Who did your visual effects on this one, Frank?
Visual effects on this one. I was going to say Greg did most of those because Greg was the one who edited this. Oh, are you talking about the ship and stuff like that?
Yes.
Sam did.
Sam did that. I figured he did. Okay.
As a matter of fact, if you remember the transporter scene.
Yes.
Where they're coming off the transporter, that's just a green screen.
Okay.
So if you look at it, and it's really spot on. We just had a green screen on there and a board, coming in. Originally, those two doors we have on either side of the bridge were supposed to be corridors, and then everybody kept on telling me, I think we really need a turbo lift. And I said, okay, we'll make this side because on the other side you can fit 3 ants and a rat because it's so close to that side of the wall.
I'm going to use that. 3 ants and a rat.
So having worked on more than just a green screen film at this point, with which do you prefer, shooting on the physical sets or shooting on the planet? Which for this film, which was more strenuous on your production team, Frank?
Well, I know the strenuous part for me was doing the outdoor scenes on location because we had those jackets on, and you may have a question on those because they're really not Star Trek type jackets, but people started using like Farragut used away team jackets, and then Dreadnought Dominion has used bomber jackets before. So originally we were looking at shooting a weekend where we thought it was going to rain. So we figured if we had the jackets on, then we wouldn't get our costumes or our uniforms wet. And as time came up to it, we saw that it wasn't going to rain. And all of a sudden it came to me, why get these costumes dirty? We've got the jackets. We'll wear the jackets with a black T-shirt and it'll be a lot easier. Now, that's all well and good, except it was like 85 to 90 degrees out.
Ooh, ow.
Yeah, so why it was strenuous on me is I'm a little up there in years, and I do have some respiratory problems. And when I was down at the river, I didn't think I was going to get back to the car because we had to go.
You had to go uphill?
Yeah, all the way, yeah. And it was extremely hot, so.
I think what we should
I was going to say, and he had gone down the night before so he could scout out some stuff, and he camped out that night.
No, I slept in the car.
And I came down early in the morning. I got my makeup on and everything, and drove down and stopped at down at Dunkin' Donuts and got some coffee, and then I stopped at Hardee's and got breakfast. And you pull up to the drive-through because you don't want to go in, but you pull up to the drive-through, and I hand her my debit card, and she looks and she looks and she looks.
See, I think what would have been really cool, Frank, for your side of the filming is you start off the scene in the jacket, the hat, and then we cut away to the away mission with the other people, and then we get back to you and you lose the jacket and it's just you in the shirt. maybe the hat, and then we go back to the away mission, and come back to you, you've lost the hat, and then go back to the away mission, and we come back to you, and then you just lose the shirt altogether, and it's just you, no shirt on, just real Captain Kirk in it, and then by the time we get to the final scene, it's just you and your tidy whities on that river holding up the TNG badge. I mean, what do you think, Jefferson? Don't you think that's braver than anything Avalon's done, don't you think?
No, I don't think so. You forgot the pole.
I think that would have been fun to watch. Yeah. Dude, I would pay. I would be a Patreon for that film. I would. I like it. I think that would work. That's a whole different kind of film.
You see, I was by water. If I had done it there, somebody would either speared me as a whale or caught me as a walrus. One of the two.
See, that's an action sequence. See, we're generating a bigger film here. See, the stories write themselves, Frank. See,
so it's either harpooned as a whale or caught as a walrus. Hopefully it's catch and release, or some bird of prey swoops down and beams you up before that happens, like in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home.
See?
There we go. Write it, Vance. Write it.
If I write the film where you end up in your tidy whities like Breaking Bad style, I will fucking write that film, Frank. I'll be on that.
And by the way, Vance wrote that. Yeah. Vance does all our writing.
Oh, you do, huh?
Yeah, I do. I do the writing. Yeah, I love to write. The thing about these characters is it's kind of a fresh start. Like, I have my Constar universe where I have all these multitude of characters, and they're all fleshed out, whatnot. And it's a great universe of characters. But getting to write for Frank and the Sam Grissom to Meryl, these are fresh new characters, and you get to, who do I want this person to be, and who do I want this person to be, and as you get to know the actors and a little bit of them, and you see a little bit, and you're like, okay, I like this about their performance. I'm going to expand upon that. And then you see a little bit interaction here. You're like, okay, I'm going to expand upon that. And you get to hear from Frank, well, hey, they kind of want to do this. And you're like, okay, I'll expand upon this here. And then you see it and you're like, okay, I really dug this about this. Let's expand. It's nice to get to write about fresh characters. Because again, for about 9 years, I wrote for, these, characters that just were intertwined and it was just, okay, I'm going to take this, do this. I'm going to take this, do this. I'm going to take this, do this. And you can watch them. I filmed them all out of order. A lot like what Sam Cockings is doing with his films, shooting Picard era and then going back to TOS era and then Next Gen era and DS9 era. It's like, okay, I did that first, and it can be, confusing, but it's worth it when you see the whole tapestry in order of what you're watching, but it's nice to be able to do something a little more simple of, let's tell a cohesive story with some characters. But I really enjoyed this one, because you got to see them on the ship, you got to see them on the away mission. And this, to me, not to knock Frank's productions, but this really was the first time that this felt like a true Star Trek episode, for Crossroads, because we had the first one with which was a Combox episode where he's talking to the Admiral, getting the assignments, talking to a couple of the crewmen, whatnot. But we've done that before. And then we had another one where he's in the shuttlecraft with Jason, who plays Yeager, which is a good guy. And there was good chemistry there. But again, that's kind of it's a trickery. It's green screen stuff, but it's essentially a Combox episode. It's two people talking.
Let me interject there just for a second. On that particular film, which was called A Question of Balance, we had the bridge. Finally got the bridge together. So the first one we shoot on the bridge, we green screen the entire bridge to make it look like a shuttlecraft.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you didn't see any of the bridge. You saw some of the helm, but we just went out there and just green screened everybody.
Yeah. So this is the first time that you actually saw, them being, Star Trek, in a Star Trek episode. And originally I wrote them on an away mission because we didn't have access to the bridge. I think it took Frank 3 months, if I'm not mistaken, to do this. And Frank, you feel free to chime in and correct me on anything. But I think a lot of it stemmed from a little push from my direction going, hey man, I think you can fucking do this. It doesn't look that hard. And him going, you know what? I think I can. And then him doing it and doing it with very little. Out of his own, a lot from his own pocket, but very little.
Yeah, that was all out of my own pocket at that point. The upgrades we're doing now are coming from the GoFundMe. So
yeah. A lot from his own.
It was my Lowe's credit card.
What's that now?
It was my Lowe's credit card. 90% of that bridge came from Lowe's in Belmont.
Very, very little as opposed to like what Mutual Zone Studios cost, but very lot from their own personal account, and that's what, when I look at that bridge, I'm like, that's a modern miracle. Love the cup, Frank, but love the
see-through cup.
Yeah. But this was, when we initially did Rebirth, this was supposed to be, I wrote the away mission because we didn't have access to a bridge. And it wasn't until Frank, he had hired on a guy named Griffin or Griffith. I forget the guy's name.
Yeah.
He no longer works for us. But
I know what you're talking about.
He was kind of pushing, hey, let's add some bridge stuff to this. Let's add some ship stuff. And I wasn't a fan of that because it's anytime someone dumps more work on me, I get kind of pissed off because I have other stuff to do. So I was kind of frowning upon that. Like, the fuck does this guy think he is? Like, I mean, I don't want to, but I can. If it had been anyone else besides Frank, I would have told the guy to go fuck himself.
Mm-hmm.
But I did. Because again, it's my best friend asking me for it, so I did it, and I was very happy with what we came up. The bridge stuff, because it gave a little bit more ability to flesh out the crew, and the direction we wanted to go. And I think, even though I was resistant to doing it, I think we came out with a better episode and a more Star Trek feeling vibe for the series. With this, and I really enjoyed this because like I said, this is the first time that this actually felt like Star Trek, and I loved all of the characters in this. They really felt like they belonged in the Star Trek universe, and I would put this up against any Avalon film or Dreadnought Dominion film or Constar film, and not in terms of like competition, knock them down, but just in terms of, hey, if you want to watch a great fan film, here's one of them, because it's a great jumping on point, and it ends on a great mystery of like, what's this TNG badge? What is this? What? So
I like that ending part, seeing the TNG era badge. And in my opinion, I think that anytime you can have a fan film be done outdoors is a plus, because it's easy to be on set. It's easy to do the comm boxes or whatnot. You're in a more controlled environment. But when you put yourself out there in the elements, like, for example, you were saying that you wanted to be out there when it was raining, but it wasn't, so you had to kind of adjust on the fly. It makes things more challenging, and it gives you some more challenges for the film and the storytelling. If you had a a preference, and you were saying that you wanted to use those jackets, but you at first you did not because you wanted to show the actual uniforms. Is that right?
Well, no, actually, I just didn't want the uniforms because they are hard to, especially the gold color. They're hard to get a hold of, because, not too many people come out with that avocado-ish look. It's usually either that crazy gold color that they have. So if you can get the avocado, I like to keep them as pristine as possible. So how do you get around it? Well, you put a jacket on it. That's one way of saving it, but it's 90 degrees out there, so you don't want to layer that way. Though I could have been used as a sauna for me. I might have lost some weight out there.
So it was some exercise.
Yeah. Trust me, I got exercise on that one. There's no doubt about it. But the thing is when you step that way, which way do you go? Now, one of the big things about Crossroads is I purposely, first two things. When I started Dreadnought Dominion, everybody was doing Connies. Mm-hmm. And I said, I don't want to do a Connie. As a matter of fact, the only reason that Dreadnought has a Connie-style bridge is because I couldn't figure out, I had ideas what I wanted to do to make, things down at the Farragut Studios, to make it look a little bit different. But I didn't want a Connie. I wanted different. I always loved the Dreadnought. So we reached out to the estate. When I came back into fan films, once again, Gary said, well, why don't you do a Miranda class? And I said, I don't want to do a Miranda class. Everybody has Miranda classes now. Mm-hmm. So the Harrison, actually, I saw it was in Star Trek Online.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm. And it didn't have a hangar deck or anything. So when I worked with Sam and his modeler, we added things in there that I wanted.
Okay.
So
I played Star Trek Online, but I did not realize that. It's been a while since I played it, so I probably missed some things.
But yeah, it's a Gemini, and it is a Gemini temporal cruiser. That's what they call it. But the funny thing about it is it's a humongous ship, and I scaled it down for a smaller crew because I had a smaller bridge in the garage because I didn't have the space.
Right. Well,
the thing I like about it, Frank, is even though it's a Star Trek Online ship, when you look at it now, and maybe it's just because I know you, but when you look at it now, it definitely screams Crossroads or Sam or Frank. Much like when you look at an Avalon ship, you simply you think of that person. When I see a Dreadnought class, I think of Gary or Randy. Because that's who it's always associated. I see this ship, I think of you. I don't think of, oh, that's a ship on Star Trek Online.
Oh yeah, no.
It's just like with you see a regular Constitution class ship with blue nacelles. Everybody's going to think, oh, it's Vance's ship, it's Constar, and that was what it's those type of things. People, when I did the Constar originally, they thought I was stupid. They're like, why are you doing that? That doesn't look right. And I'm like, it's something to set yourself apart. Like you, I had to use a Constitution class ship on my stuff. Doing the Constar, I knew, okay, I'm jumping to the Wolf 359. How am I going to work myself around this? So I came up with that storyline, but I thought I still have a Constitution class ship, so what can I do to be different? If I'm just a Constitution class ship, regular in 23rd century, that doesn't set me apart. But if you make them blue, that references like the JJ stuff, but it sets me apart. Just looking at the ship, it's visually different. Looking at your Crossroads ship, I instantly think you. And that's one of those things that, I didn't want someone to be able to go look at a generic ship online and internet search, like you said, Miranda class, and just be like, oh, this is my ship now. That I don't want that, and I think that's very smart. Of what you're thinking, like with the Miranda class, for someone to take your ship perhaps or whatever and be like, oh, this is mine now for their production. Screw that. It's your ship. Nobody can take a screenshot of the Harrison and be like, oh, I'm going to use this for my production. You can easily look at that and go, hey, dude, this is my ship, man. Don't take it, and it's kind of bragging rights where it's very easy today to take a screenshot of a Constitution, class and go, this is mine, and you can't really prove, is it mine or is it not,
Yeah, 17 different Constitution classes for numbers ranging from.
Yeah, unless you look at that registry, you can't really tell. And that's where, people like, from the Dreadnought Dominion or the Avalon stuff or, like the Ares class or, like what you've done or what I've done, like that's where setting yourself apart makes sense. Anything like that. And no offense, like as much as I love Sam Cocking's work, I think you kind of lose something when you have like a regular Excelsior class or a like a Saber class. Like unless you look specifically at that registry, I don't know if that's from the show or if that's from just a generic thing. I don't know, because all of those just kind of run together. When you have something that sets yourself apart, it does stand out. So I prefer when people do stuff like that, because it just feels like they put a little bit more thought as opposed to, well, let me grab an Excelsior class. Personally, I love the Ambassador class. If I could do one, if I was really in Starfleet, I'd be like, put me on an Ambassador class.
Really?
I think, oh, dude, Defiant or Ambassador class. Those things are
Defiant.
beautiful.
I love Defiance. Yes, Defiant is a sweet ship.
If you're in war, Defiant. Otherwise, Ambassador, like they have the Ambassador class has the majestic look of a Galaxy class, but the kind of smaller compartmentalized look of a Constitution class, and so it has kind of the best of both worlds, no pun intended. Mm-hmm. But I would love to be on a Defiant, just because it's like it's got the quantum torpedoes, it's the whole package, But those things you can Google search an image and steal your shit, So I never would want that.
Donna, do you have a favorite ship?
Not really. My favorite one is, I love the Voyager, and I've gotten to where I love Prodigy and that ship that they have.
Oh, the Protostar.
Yeah.
And it's, I've just, it's more the characters that are there than the ships that appeal to me. And I'll say one thing about Vance's script writing. I had written a scene some time ago, and I'd given it to Frank, and Vance has rewritten it so that it actually sounds good. It's going to be in Romulan Ales, so yeah.
Do you do a lot of script writing?
I don't.
Donna.
I let Vance do that. I get ideas and I can write a story, but the formatting a actual script, however you format it, I'm not real good at that. But I just it was just one that, and you'll know it when it comes up when we actually do that. So when we do Romulan Ales, we'll do the Critical-not-Cynical on that.
I have to say, one of the things, and I forgive me, I feel like I'm stealing your guys' airtime, because I feel like I'm blabbering on about you guys.
You always blabber on, but I'm used to that.
Nothing wrong with that.
I love writing for Tameril and Sam, because there's so much, like, I love both Frank and Donna as people, and listening to them go back and forth as I'm talking to Frank, because keep in mind when I was heavily involved with all these Constar films, and Frank and I were just doing like all the time, like we were every day on the phone, and I don't get the chance to talk to Frank as much as I used to, which sucks. But
has improved my sleep.
Right.
3 o'clock in the morning. Vance is calling. Frank, wake up.
Those ideas, like when I get excited,
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that, you know, I've heard so much of them, you know, the back and forth banter between them. And I love both of them so much, and I hold both of them in such high regard. And I think it really comes across, and especially in we have to put it up. Frank, maybe you can send the link to. Do you remember the film what's the film that we do the after credits where you guys are going to the future? Do you remember what film that was in, Frank?
I thought you were thinking of what I thought you were thinking of is the scene from You Are Recalled.
Which one is that one?
That was the one where she and I are sitting there with the thorn and everything else.
Thorn and everything else.
Yeah, where we come in and Stephen, Denson has given me that thing, that moral dilemma, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out if I should go to the Romulans or not. That was the one that we did in the universe with Lovato at the very beginning, and then I talked to Stephen Denson. Yeah, You Are Recall.
And he said something about and you're I tell him had to be a thorn in his side.
Yeah, there's that one. Yeah, there's that scene. See that, and that's a line that I completely forgot. But there's that one. But there's when you guys are going to the future, and it's not to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen my million gajillion films.
I can't remember which one that was.
Yeah, see, I can't either, and I feel like a dumb noodle here.
Well, you've got so many; they've got to be hard to remember all of them.
Dude, I don't remember any of their names. I'm like, the one with the thing and the doohickey and the one with the ship, you know. But it's in an after credits, and it's where Frank and the Harrison. It's Frank and Donna's in the back, and they're zipping away doing what they do, and it's a line, and I forget what exactly happens, but Frank's ready to just give up, and he kind of looks over at Donna, and he's like,
I know which line you're talking about. And
go ahead. Yeah, you say it, Frank, because I know I'm going to butcher it. I always do.
Yeah, I think I say something like, I just wanted to let you know, and she says, I understand, husband, or something like that.
Yeah, she cuts him off. He's like, I just want to let you know. And she cuts him off. She's like, I know, husband. And it's so subtle, and I love how Donna delivers that. And I think like she's a very underrated actress, because like she's never in your face on anything she does, but it's stuff like that where I'm like, this is why you are a perfect Vulcan. This is why I can buy you being a doctor and a psychologist, a counselor. Like, this is why, because you're giving this man exactly what he needs and nothing more. You don't need to hear what he has to say. You already know. And to me, it rivals the relationship between like Sarek and Amanda. She already knows what he has to say, and he already knows what she has to say. They have that connection. You don't need to hear it. And that, to me, like, you feel that history. And to me, when I wrote those lines, whenever I write those two together, it's Donna and Frank. It's just we're in these characters, and I love that, because that's why I wrote it that way, and they delivered it better than I could have imagined. And when I did my final film, Some of Us Stand on Our Own Together, and I put a joke in there where You
Let's hear it.
Go ahead, Frank.
She's talking about Eve and the apple.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's talking about Eve and the apple, and how we went down. You know, how humankind went down.
In your mythos, it says in your mythos, obviously Eve traded the world for an apple, and Frank, and
I look up and I go, wonder what she would have done for a Klondike bar.
And then Menard comes up and says his goodbye, with Eobard on its back, and that's the big goodbye, and then zoop, the ship flies away. But I wanted my film to end with a happy, jolly moment with with my best friend and his wife, and a happy moment instead of a real downer, which a lot of my films had been, they've been known for the solemn, the real Michael Keaton, Bruce Wayne type moments of silence. I wanted this to end on a happy moment. And I thought, well, Frank is a funny person and Donna's funny too. Well, let's get these two characters to be happy. And again, all you need to know in that joke, because these two characters get each other, and here Tamaril is engaging, Sam in his quote unquote myth, and he busts up a joke. And again, she would get it, but it's
this is the way it is. This is the way it is in our home life. You should see the dirty jokes I said to her that she doesn't understand.
And then I throw things at him.
You throw things at him?
But that's go ahead. But that's the joy of writing for these for writing for these two especially, and and the other characters, most certainly, but these two, because of the special nature that they have in my heart. I love Donna, I love Frank, and I think it really comes across in all the writing that I get to do for them. Is you see the love that I have for them and that they have for each other, and it shows in their characters. And it is a real joy to watch them portray what I write and just do that much better. It's a joy. So.
Yeah, I want to bring something up here that you mentioned earlier before, and it was something about it being a counselor and a Vulcan doctor. And I'm going to set the record straight right now, because there is someone in fandom who said that they had the first counselor on a starship in the TOS era. And of course, because of his production, everybody believes that. But Donna was created 2 years earlier in Dreadnought as a Vulcan counselor on the starship. And we're talking about the Big V.
And
she was actually the first one in any fan films that was a counselor in that time frame.
And
not the other one.
Was that when I did during that first scene that we did on that first on the Dreadnought, we're sitting there, and Randy says something about something about you've studied that or something like that, and I say I am the doctor, and I just had to put it that way because
she's a Whoist.
Yes, I'm a Whovian. Yes.
What made you decide on being a Vulcan for your cosplay and for your character?
I just eons ago.
She was in love with the green guy.
I was in. My dad was watching TV. I walked in. Dad, is that science fiction? There's a green guy on there, and I fell in love with the green guy. So my friend Terry Roberts and I did the Vulcan robes, and we did all that. And her sister Beth, who we lost a few months ago, she actually did Darth Vader, which leads to a very interesting story in Seneca, South Carolina, when we were lost and had to stop a police officer to get back to the hotel while we were in costume. So we had Terry had fallen and gotten hurt. We went to the hospital to get her checked out, and we're going back, and we got bad directions. And I blink my lights at the police officer. He walks up and he looks at me. He said, "Okay, ma'am," and he looks in there, and he looks in the back. Then he looks at me. He looks at Terry. He looks at Beth in the back. "Yes, ma'am." I said, "We're lost. We're lost. We're hopelessly lost."
And then he said, "License and registration." You said, "We're interstellar travelers."
He patted me on my hand. He patted me on my hand, said, "It's okay." I said, "Well, I'm trying to get here." He said, "Follow me." Then he stopped and he said, "Oh, we missed the turn back there."
A lot of help.
Terry and I tell our 6 miles from Seneca story. So that's it. So.
Well, I'm glad that you decided to pick a Vulcan. I don't think it's very often that we see Vulcans in fan films. I mean, at least in the ones that I've seen. And I think that's probably because you have to commit to the prosthetics and makeup, and which can add some time.
Yeah.
The thing I think works for Tamero is like your hair goes and kind of hides the fact like you're not spending 5 hours in the makeup chair or whatnot.
Yeah.
And the thing I think works with Tamero is you have personality, and it shows beneath the "I'm going to get rid of every emotion I have." Like my favorite Vulcan, and nobody castrate me please, is Tim Russ. It's not Leonard Nimoy. And it's because you can see the emotion behind the eyes, especially in his dealings with Neelix. You can sense that, "Oh man, I just want to punch you in the mouth" type vibe from him. But I love that, because you can see so much, and yet he doesn't
Right.
show it. And I get the same sense from Tamero when you're portraying her, and I love that. And I think that's where a lot of fan films go short. They're like, "Okay, I got to cut off everything." It's like, well, then you're just a robot. That's not a Vulcan to me. That's not Vulcan society. And I think that's where when you guys started Dreadnought Dominion and continued with Crossroads, I think that's where you guys excelled. Is you guys don't have the budget that Avalon or Star Trek Continues or Star Trek Phase 2 had. You guys have story, and you guys have limitations. So let's accentuate the positives. Let's hide the negatives. We've got character. Let's drape the hair over the ears, and we can hide the fact that we can't blend right here. And that's a perfect way to do it.
You don't know how hard in the beginning. And it was, and it really would have made my days if I could have gotten Jolene Blaylock to play Tamero.
Well,
you better be glad you're in the man cave, my guy. There is a lock on the door. I'm upstairs in my craft room. So
if we hear a lock click, then Frank's in trouble.
Yeah, that was my tribble.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a tribble right next to you? Oh, that's cute.
Yep.
Now, what were you about to say, Frank?
No, I was going to make the Jolene Blaylock because Donna knows that I've always loved that particular Vulcan, and I let her know every time I see her on screen, which usually comes to burnt coffee and things like that for me.
Yeah, he has to be nice to me because if he wants his coffee, he wants to brew his own coffee,
But one of the things about Crossroads that I've been trying to foster is the thing that we have in a lot of the fan films, like Avalon and Axanar and things like that, is a family attitude that everybody, is always, anybody can come to me if they've got a problem, but we've been really lucky that we haven't had that type of drama on there. I've been on sets that there have been drama, and it's not a fun thing. That's why we try to have as much fun as we can, from that point, and try to have those levity moments. And the other thing too is I purposely did not want Grissom to be a Kirk, to be a Pike. I wanted him to be an anti-hero. I have my flaws. I still have my flaws because I still carry the dreadnought, the Dominion being ambushed and having, people on my crew killed because I felt that I let them down. And it's just, that's how I play Grissom from that point. More of not a tragic captain, but one, I think I'm not out for the heroics. I just want to get my people back safe.
Well, and that's a good way to play the character. And I certainly appreciate playing it like that. Whereas I think that it's easy to get in when you're playing, when you're in these films of being the captain or the one in command and emulating that, the Kirk style or the Pike style, being the hero, and you're playing a character that's more flawed, which I think can give more drama and some more feeling to the film.
Well, a lot of the times, let's not pretend that playing Star Trek isn't everyone's fantasy, at least sci-fi wise. Maybe not the sports jocks, fantasy, but for people in our circle, start playing in a Star Trek fan film is a pretty cool thing. So of course everybody would want to be a Captain Kirk or Mr. Spock, or because they in their mind they're like, man, I've always wanted to be Spock, I've always wanted to be Kirk. But as cool as those things are, what's more interesting to play? Someone that's more lifelike and relatable, and something that can give you some scenery to chew, something to do, as opposed to I'm the hero. No, that's as cool as it would be to be Superman. How boring would that be to be Superman? If you can blow out, the sun with your super breath, that's not challenging. It's a very boring hero to be. It would be boring to write for that person, for that superhero. You got to think of challenges. And if you're always Mr. Perfect, that's not a character you want to write for. So to have a flawed character, one of the best scenes that I'd say probably my top 5 films that I've been in, has been where you and I have been just fucking yelling at each other, because I think you're a son of a bitch for leaving Starfleet or something. I forget what it was at the time. I think you and I were discussing my father or something, and you love the guy and I hate the guy or something like that. I forget what it was about at this. Again, so many films I forget, but you and I really go for gold on that one. And it's not that I'm right.
And it was funny. It was our first time playing off each other. And of course,
yes,
we didn't see each other. We did our lines. It was a comm box, and it just meshed. We to this day, it to me, it's. I think it's one of the best things that he and I have done together.
Yeah, it really you feel, because that was when you came back to fan films. I've been very open. I mean, hell, we both have been very open. I didn't like you. I didn't want to, but
I still don't like me.
When Donna gives you that burnt coffee, she doesn't like you. So we're all in good company here. But it's one of those but it's one of those things that I wanted my character to come at, I started to like you and see you through different lens than what I used to, because I used to have that mentality of you. And I felt like, well, what if my character didn't? Because of course Sam left the Dominion, he left Starfleet, what if Menard has that opinion even though Vance doesn't? Let me put that into my writing, because a lot of my writing is from real life events, or at least inspired from. And you and I just go for gold on this. I mean, you're reaching out to me as kind of the son he never had. I'm telling you, F off as the, I don't want your, hot sexual advances that you're doing.
Don't call me son.
Yeah, dude, it was intense, and it was really a good scene.
Running up that hill.
Yeah.
Running up that hill.
Yeah.
You see, let me tell you, Jefferson, when he and I got together to do podcasts and stuff like that, the only reason he took me on is because they know how to work StreamYards, and he couldn't figure it out. That's the only reason.
I had to be his friend for that,
For StreamYards.
That's it. But no, it was really great to see that. And if he had gone into fan films going, I want to be the perfect captain, you wouldn't have had stuff like that. It's kind of why people prefer serialized shows as opposed to episodic. Episodes are great. Serialized is a preferred format because you get that continuity of character. What happened last episode matters this episode, and that'll matter next episode. And that's part of the beauty of writing for characters like Frank, like Tamero, and the characters of Crossroads is, these characters, a lot of what happens stick around. If we lose a character, it's going to weigh on Frank's heart because he's already lost characters from the Dominion, and he's left one ship. What happens if he leaves another? It matters. And those are the conversations that when Frank and I do talk, it matters, so it's really great. This show is really a wonderful show.
I commend you on that. I like the sets. I like the story. I like the outdoor scenes. So the dialogue, you guys did pretty well on this. So definitely give you a thumbs up on that one, on a well done fan film.
So what did you see as a flaw?
Oh,
yeah, because there's always flaws in a film, and I like to hear what people see so I can make it better. I can take criticism without any problem. So that's why it's great to say I love the sets and stuff like that. What did you see that you weren't appealed by?
Are you talking to me or Jefferson?
I know what you think. I'm talking to Jefferson because you've been talking the entire time. Love you, bro. Hey, you learned how to count. Wow.
Children play pretty.
Play night. Thank you, Donna.
The only thing that I could really think about that jumped out to me a couple times, and it wasn't a big thing, but there were a couple scenes that I felt went on longer than they needed to be. Okay. And that was just kind of my first feeling was good scene, but it just feels like, okay, it could have been finished by now, but it's still going. And I think I want to say it was it was one of the conversations you had when you're on the away mission with the not with Tamero, but the other character. What was that gentleman's name?
With one of the guys?
Yeah.
Or was it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, with one of the guys. I don't recall the character's name, but it was one of those scenes. And again, not a major criticism. I felt like the scene went longer than it. The dialogue in the scene probably it felt like it went longer than it needed to.
See, my thinking.
No, that's good. That is good criticism. I like that.
My thinking was,
because we got some areas dragged too.
See, my thinking was the conversation on the planet with Bedford and Yeager?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it Gifford?
No, Gifford was never on scene on that. He's only mentioned.
Okay, I wasn't. Which one is the one? Because all I remember is the scene where they're talking about.
That was Bedford and
Yeager.
Okay. They're
about the Carson and all that.
Yeah. To me, when I wrote it, how I envisioned it was, this was a heartfelt, I don't want to be here, I don't deserve to be here. Okay, this is how I feel. I kind of feel this way because I've got this trauma. This is a shared trauma from two people, and we come up and rise together from a shared trauma, and now we're going to be like, this is our shared bond. This is our moment together, because I feel this way. I feel this way. We both don't really belong here, but because we both don't belong here, this is our shared experience, and now let's get through this together. And to me, to make that scene work, you need to slow the scene down, because it's kind of like, hey, my cat got hit by a car. Oh, mine too. Yeah, all right, let's have some soup. All right, cool. Like, the fuck, and that to me, it's like, man, if you are pissed at your boss because you feel like he doesn't want you there, that's a heavy burden. And then if the other person's like, yeah, I don't like the shit that I went through, I witnessed fucking 50 people dead. I don't know, like, I get where you're coming from, but my boss, like, our boss is my comfort. Like, this is where we can come, it's one of those things where it's like, if they're opening themselves up to each other. And that's something that like should be slowed down for a moment. The audience needs to sit there and share that with these people, because we're all going to sit back and go, where have I put myself, putting themselves in the character's shoes, where can I relate with these people? Like when Picard is with his brother after he was assimilated and they're in the vineyard fighting, that to me was these moment for these characters. That's our moment to relate to these characters and want to be, that's our moment to make these characters from Picard and his brother to Miles and Julian. This is our moment, but we need to take a step back and sit with these characters. We can't just rush through it. And to me, we rushed through it. And so if it just slowed down to sit with these characters, let this soak in. So that to me was the only real criticism, is you can't rush through a heart to heart, so.
And part of that, and I'm not justifying it, because I'll be very perfectly honest with you, Jefferson, this movie or this film almost didn't get out because we had a whole bunch of lost footage.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. And so we, as a matter of fact, you probably didn't notice, but I had to reshoot part of that scene with Yeager in my yard. And fortunately, we were able to blend the trees in. If you look at it, you'll see, and we, without really looking at it, he should have been moving a little bit more. We had to shoot a lot of his dialogue here because the cameraman, and he didn't let us know for months on end that he had lost that. He was supposed to be editing the film too. And I don't want to. Yeah, it was a disaster. And if it hadn't been for Greg, and I give Greg Mitchell a lot of kudos because he put this film together, and the only reason it's good is because we reshot the first scene and the ending credits. We did the bridge screen, and we should have done better shots. And I'll tell you where my criticism is. We were shooting at an angle, and what I did not know, this is a lesson learned, Jason was on camera on this side, and I had my phone going on the other side, and I couldn't understand it, why he wanted to shoot from an angle. And then he told me that my D6 that I was shooting with, I never thought of it, does not have a wide angle film or lens. So to get what he needed to, he had to shoot it from an angle. When all I could have done, if I had known what was going on, is I would have brought my camera, my phone. We would have shot it with the phone camera to get the full panoramic.
Yeah.
So this is to us is our lessons learned film.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, Frank, and I mean, it's because you and I have talked about the, as you put it, the lessons learned. If you can watch this film and not walk away with it and go, man, someone needs to wave a skunk in front of Frank's face because that stunk. Then I mean, then congrats. I'll be honest. Greg and I both were probably about a day away from telling Frank, hey man, this is not edible. Or edible.
It tastes good though. It's like a little banana peels on the side.
That's why we don't have
a pole. He had a pole to eat that.
That's why there's no footage, because I was licking all the damn rolls, man. But no, like we were. It was not. It was not. We didn't have the footage we needed, and Frank, like the day before, I was going to tell Frank, hey man, it ain't gonna work. We don't have a film. Like Frank sent the footage, like boom, 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 boom. And I sent it to Greg, and I was like, here you go. See what you can do with it. And Greg looked at all the stuff. He's like, yep, I think I can make this work. And I was like, fucking A, right on. Then we're good. Then
we did a reshoot that we weren't going to do. And that reshoot saved the film.
Yeah. So to me, that shows what creative, it's not that you didn't know what you were doing. It's, you didn't have that one hand tied behind your back anymore, because it's like you had all the. I mean, it's easy to say you can't put a puzzle together when you're missing like 3/4 of the puzzle, So to me, this is a great film in spite of the flaws that are there. It's a great film. It's a great film. So.
Well, I think we had a good session there. So this was a great critical, not cynical review. And I agree with V-Man, great film. So you're to be commended on that. I look forward to seeing more of your films, especially Romulan Nails. And I appreciate, Frank, you and Donna taking out the time, sitting with us. Well, of course, Frank, you're part of the daggone show. Duh. Yeah. So I'll have to, it's late.
Next week I'll just come just like this, and I won't even. I mean, where's here? I got it.
Oh, the wig. I love that wig.
This is my Romulan wig.
Yeah.
Now you know why the Romulan elves.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know. I can't do it, and I'm backwards on the camera and all.
Well, you guys, I think we can go enjoy our Friday nights. I know I will. I've got a lot of relaxing and gaming to do and catching up on stuff that for whatever reason I didn't all get done today. So on behalf of myself and Critical Not Cynical, Donna, thank you for joining with us tonight. And thanks to our listeners and viewers. And we just want to tell you, live long and prosper.
We We are Beyond Trek Podcast. Lower your inhibitions and surrender your years. We will add inspirational and hilarious Trek content to your day. Your attention will adapt to subscribe to us. Resistance is futile.
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can support us at patreon.com/BeyondTrek.